This is MAUS. It's a graphic novel written by Art Spiegelman, and it's a story about his father's survival of the Holocaust. In MAUS, Jewish people are portrayed as mice, and Germans are portrayed as cats. And I feel like telling this story in this particular style is such a good idea because it makes so much more accessible a story as sad and horrific about survival and one of the darkest moments in human history for younger audiences. And it also doesn't compromise the integrity and the faithfulness of the actual true events that happened. And unfortunately, if you've watched the news recently, then you probably know that a school board in Tennessee actually banned MAUS from their curriculum. There are many stupid reasons why they decided to ban this book. One of them is because the graphic novel contains rough and objectionable language, as well as sketches of naked women, which is so stupid because they're mice. By definition, they're not women, they're just female mice. And this is my favorite bad excuse, because by that logic, then they might as well also ban Winnie the Pooh, because Pooh is the only character that actually wears clothes out of all the animals. However, not all of their reasoning is as stupid as the previous one. They're all stupid. Like when you actually have some logic involved, it makes no sense. But some of the not so stupid arguments are the graphic nature of this work of art. There's many scenes that involve violence. There's even scenes in which you see mice being killed in many ways. And if you take this completely out of context, if you tell someone's parents, oh, do you want to let your kid consume a graphic novel that involves graphic violence and the killing of other people, then parents would definitely say no, absolutely not. But the thing that this school board is, they take this completely out of context. They just look at violence and then they say, oh, violence is bad, we shouldn't let our kids watch this. A member of the school board even said that, quote unquote, it shows them killing kids. Why does the education system promote this kind of stuff? It's not wise or healthy. And to that I say, what's wrong with you? Nobody is promoting violence at all. And if you actually took the time to read this novel, which I'm absolutely sure you didn't, then you definitely understand that the whole point of this graphic novel is to speak against violence, to speak against such horrific events in human history, so you learn about them and we don't make the same mistakes ever again. And also, having a school board promote this book is not the same as having a school board promoting violence at all. If you go by that logic, then you might as well say that all schools in the world are promoting war and violence. Why? Well, because they teach history. It's just baffling to me that this is their reasoning, because like I just said, this is the complete opposite of the point that this book is making. And listen, I was born in Mexico. I learned in Mexican schools, so I can only talk about my own personal experience. But in my case, we learned about the Holocaust through, our textbook, and it definitely did not delve deep enough into this subject matter. I actually still remember that whenever we had such a big event, we would have 2, maybe 3 chapters about it. But because it's just a textbook about world history, they don't take enough time to talk about this subject in depth. So for me, the way to learn more about the Holocaust and about all the horrible things that happened, unfortunately, was not well explained through school, and I had to go to other mediums. I had to watch documentaries. I had to go to Wikipedia to learn more about it because I just couldn't wrap my head around the concept that the Holocaust is, because it's just absolutely insane that this actually happened and that racism at this big a scale actually was a thing. So yeah, I went to documentaries, I went to the internet, I went just to YouTube videos to learn about this. I went to movies, and obviously I also read this book. And while MAUS does not delve into the political reasons and all of that about the Holocaust, it tells a story about how it was to live in a concentration camp, how it was to live as a Jewish person before all of that happened. It also talks about the PTSD of such a horrific situation, and it's just a really good work of art, and it's so sad that it was banned. MAUS is definitely not the best way to learn about the Holocaust, but for me and for many other people and definitely younger people, it's like a really good introduction to learning about this really dark chapter in human history. And if it wasn't for MAUS or other books and movies that talk about the Holocaust, then I would have definitely not been able to learn so much about it. So by banning MAUS, they're not just only limiting people's access to information, but they're also censoring a really good work of art. And then there's this other quote from another member of the school board that is just insane. Mike Cochran said, "If I was trying to indoctrinate somebody's kids, this is how I would do it. You put this stuff just enough in the edges so the parents don't catch it, but the kids, they soak it in. I think we need to relook at the entire curriculum." And this is just absolutely insane and bizarre. What's this poor book trying to indoctrinate your kids to do? Art Spiegelman does not glamorize violence. He's not trying to convince your kids that violence is good. No, this is the exact opposite. And again, if they had actually taken the time not only to sit down and read the book, but also to think about what the book's trying to say, they would definitely know this. And also remember, censoring art is never the answer. Last night I watched Peter Pan for the first time in like 15 years, like the original Disney classic. And at first I thought I saw like an unskippable ad before the movie, but then I realized that it was just a warning about inaccurate depictions shown in this movie. And if you watch Peter Pan, then you probably know what they were talking about. And even though I really don't like their practices as a corporation, as a business, I feel like this is a much better way to warn kids about how graphic these things can be and about the violence that they can see in works of art such as MAUS. There's definitely no good reason to ban this really good book. And even though this situation really saddens me, at least there's one positive about this whole thing. Since the news came out, The Complete MAUS became #1 bestseller on Amazon's online bookstore. And not only that, but there's also people like Ryan Higgins, owner of a local comic book store, who are actually offering to ship out free copies of MAUS to people, and especially to kids from this school district where they banned MAUS. So like I said, if there's something good that came out of this banning of MAUS, is that many thousands of people are getting introduced to MAUS for the first time, which is the complete opposite of what these people wanted. So I'm really happy about that. And yeah, this is not a review of this book. This is just me talking about this whole situation and why I think it's stupid. But if you want me to talk more in depth about the actual book, not this situation, then let me know in the comments and I will see you next time.